Hey everyone, welcome to the Gaming X. For today's review, we're going to be checking out Timothy vs the Aliens on the PlayStation 4. Now this is a platform action game that tries to bring something wholly unique to the PlayStation and install a new bit of life to the genre. For those that don't know, Timothy vs the Aliens is a 3D platformer, adventure and action video game where you play the role of a gangster named Timothy. Now Timothy lives in a black and white period and fights against the full-coloured aliens that have invaded his city. Now following an alien abduction, you're actually granted the power to bend time, and you'll use this in your quest to save Little Fish City. Now the question is, does it succeed, or is this one worth leaving in the PlayStation Store? Now before we do jump into the review, remember to hit like, leave a comment below, or even just hit subscribe for free new reviews every week across the PlayStation 4, the Xbox One, and of course the Nintendo Switch. With that being said, let's jump in. So first of all, graphics, and they are by far the main thing that will stand out about this unusual title, and they are, I must say, fantastic. This is a black and white gangster noir from yesteryear brought to life. Timothy is a caricature format of the gangster film characters we all know and love, and then there is the lighting which illuminates your way, and it's brought to life beautifully in the streets of Little Fish City. Now don't worry, you will see some colour, and this comes in the form of the title's aliens. Bright colours with varying enemies, they stand out against the black and white tonality perfectly. They additionally enhance the tone of the game, not only in adding some colour to the hours of black and white visuals, but it's a nice simple representation of their unwelcome status in Little Fish City. Finally, animation, and I particularly love the movement. Timothy has all the character you would expect from his design. It's a bit of exaggerated movement in his animations, and this matches perfectly to the aliens as they slide across your screen, tentacles and all. Overall, I've got to say it's great work here. So gameplay, and first I just want to touch on some common complaints you may have heard in other reviews based on the UK release of this game just a few weeks ago. Fortunately, what I will say is a patch from the developers has been released for the North American audience, and these were complaints I was originally going to support until I got my hands on the North American build. The team listened to their audience, and I've got to say kudos. They've improved accessibility to health and bullet items in the world, they've improved the collisions to jump out the water in the sewers, and the big one of course, they've removed the bug which made the minimap disappear when you was in the car traversing Little Fish City. Yes, Timothy gets access to a car, and yes, this bug was an absolute pain in the ass, but I'm happy to say it's gone. This patch will additionally be released for those in the UK shortly as well if you are watching. So let's talk about the rest of the gameplay and the platforming mechanics and weaponry. They work well if not perfect. Generally speaking, the platforming is responsive, and I never had any issues personally. I enjoyed controlling Timothy, and I never felt cheated in the sewers, in the water, but it was again corrected in the great updates they've made. I do wish they'd put a bit more thought into the platforming, as I will say it does start to get repetitive at around the halfway mark, but generally I enjoyed my time. Then there is the weaponry, and the controls, again, they feel good, whether I was using the machine gun, the shotgun, or whatever weapon I could find. I wish they'd put a bit more into each weapon, I will say that, as they do largely feel the same minus the fire rate. Then there is the slowdown mechanic, and it's actually a curious one, and in my opinion it's actually a missed opportunity. It just doesn't add enough value to the title. It of course makes enemies easier, and it never really falls, but nor really do your enemies. They were easy to begin with, and they just become easier. I wish they'd matched the challenge of the enemies alongside your use of this feature. Now I will say my main issue with the game was repetition. Boredom did kick in as I approached the end game, and with only limited enemy types, it just didn't keep me engaged. Finally, the car controls fine. I wouldn't expect the next GTA, that's for sure, but you can access any car you see in Little Fish City. but like the weapons, again, none of them really differentiate themselves from the others. There might be a slight difference in speed, but that's about it. The car, it's a welcome addition to save on the pain that would be walking around this moderately sized open world, but don't buy the game for the driving. It's simply a quicker way of getting around, and that's about it. They don't really use this bar 1 or 2 missions. It really is a shame, honestly. It could have added a lot to the game, and it would have added some variance that really is needed to the gameplay. Finally, audio, and audio is hit and miss. I loved the sounds of the world and the weaponry, in fact. I especially enjoyed the jazz soundtrack. Obvious, yes, but it's so welcome to reinforce the visuals. Unfortunately, my main issue I did have was the lack of dialogue. Opening the game, the visuals kick in, and you are instantly enticed to this world. Then though, they follow this up with 0 dialogue, simply subtitles. It immediately breaks your engagement with the world, and it really was a big missed opportunity. There's some great storyline here that simply misses on delivery for this reason, and it could have taken this game to a whole new level. So the final verdict on Timothy vs the Aliens is definitely a unique IP. It's a well-designed world alongside some fantastic visual design, supported with solid platforming and serviceable gunplay. Unfortunately though, it's all let down by a lack of dialogue to really bring the story to life, repetition in a very short 4-hour package, and there's really no difficulty progression at all to support the slow-mo functionality. It actually gets easier as you progress. Overall, I will say this, it's a fun title and it would definitely be appreciated by a younger audience, and well, honestly, that's a shame when it looks so good and it has such a fantastic overall theme. The Gaming X awards Timothy vs the Aliens a 5 out of 10. Thanks for watching. If you like what you've seen today, why not hit subscribe and join us for reviews and news every Monday, Thursday and Saturday. We'll see you on the next Gaming X.